All right, I'm going to be working this Alpha Z. It is a blue belt. I got 5 left and 5 right with a passive, a couple passive on the top. So it's actually 3. All right. And there could be up to 5 or 6. So I'm going to use this heavy. If you don't have a heavy, I suggest using 2 bars. I'm using bottom of key because where it sits, this little shelf holds it really nice. And then as well as holding it really nice, it kind of holds this in the proper position for my Moki. So I'm flagging it. All right, so I'm going to start off with 1 left, 1 right has clicks, 2 left and 2 right has clicks, 3 had a click with some really good rotation. We're at 4. 4 has a good click and back into a false set. Okay, I believe 5s are what I'm at now. So now the question is, can I get them easy? So right now the hard part I'm having, I think that I successfully got 5. I think I successfully got 5 right, and that's 5 left. Okay, so clearly I have something left. I gotta find it. 1, 2, no rotation, 3. Again, we got a deep false set here, so I'm looking to push on these pins and get some rotation. 1. I don't think it's 3. It might be this one right here. There it is. Okay, we got it open. All right, so we do have a good open. So one of the things too is that when you're trying to get to the pins are, I'm gonna use some keys over here. The pins are obviously counterposing each other, right? So they're lined up and they're slightly offset, right? So when you're picking them, I'm using this pick and kind of coming here. And when I get underneath, I can feel that they're binding. This is obviously dramatic, right? But I feel the binding, so I kind of skirt to one side. Maybe I skirt to this side, and I can't get past it. So then I go to this side and realize, okay, this is a right pin that I'm working on. I'm bringing it up and I'm going, oh, like, I can't get around it there. Oh, I feel it here. I can get around it. I can start manipulating it. So that's kind of what I was doing there, was I was coming in from the bottom and then kind of moving left and right to find where the pin was. And then the hard part, and then after that, is when I'm pushing it, you don't want to make the mistake of, as you're pushing it, now I'm not pushing the tip of the pin, so it's not doing anything. And what happens is that this whole, so it's open, obviously I'm going to lock it, this whole thing is turning the core. So you don't know if you're actually turning the core, like the counter rotation, because your tool is turning it or because you're pushing on the pin. So kind of after you feel the pin, you got to really work hard to get the pin to be in the right spot. So that way when you're only applying pressure to that pin, the core is rotating with you, so you know you're on the right pin. You know you're on the pin that's binding. So enough about that. Let's get this taken apart, which is a mess. Okay, and a lot of people don't take this apart, and I'll explain why. So side picks explain to me. Let's put this guy back where it belongs. So I'll just tuck that away and pop this guy out. Okay, so side picks explain to me that these type, as opposed to sometimes you get stuff like this. She said this one doesn't have this faceplate on it. This one has a faceplate. So this one, if I wanted to take this one apart, I could take this off and with the key pull this core out. And I actually have tools that I made right here. I have a different video on it. And this will allow me to easily get each side of these out, right? But I can't do it with this. What side picks displayed to me was that with these special tops, that these are secure. So if I take this bolt off and put a key in there, it still doesn't come out. What happens is apparently in here, there's springs that are pushing 2 pins on each side. So he told me that I'd have to, like, I can offset. I could put over here and I could drill a hole. And then basically when you put the key in, you can rotate it till you see, or somehow you get exposure to the pins, you drop the pins out, and then this cap will come off. I'm not gonna do that. So what do I have to do instead? So a lot of videos, people don't take them apart. And if you look here, you can see this thing's beat up. And if you look here, oh, it's so pretty. Actually, this one has like a little lip, so it's easy to get off. That's a bad example. Let's get this one over here. Look how pretty that is. Nice crimp to it. So pretty. Hasn't been taken apart. I did take this apart. So this is what I'll warn you. when you take this apart, I know this is a long spiel, you've already seen it, but I'm going to gut this obviously to prove that it has everything in there. So when you're doing this, these little sprigs in here will go flying. Be careful. Unfortunately, when you put it back together, so this is going to be a long video, skip to the points that we're talking about. But in this, the springs actually become like from static magnetized. So I even have a little guy right here to help me demagnetize my tools. I can magnetize them, I can demagnetize them. So I tried everything to make sure that nothing was magnetized, and these little springs were just clinging, and you put a little bit of pressure on them and they go flying. So just be really careful. So what a lot of people do is they will use a tool and they'll push this and slide this back this way. But from everything I've gathered, again, I'm not a locksmith, but from everything that I've gathered, so I'll zoom in just a little bit on this, let's not lose sight of it. So everything that I have learned, these are kind of disposable. You're not supposed to keep reusing them. And what you do is you put something under here, you lift it straight up, and then after you lift that bad boy straight up, you remove it, and when you replace it, they're already bent, kind of curve-like. So they just beautifully flat sit on top, and then you get some sort of punch tool, and you punch it, and it flattens it out and crimps it in there, right? But a lot of people pull it out. Now, the downside to that is if you use a tool and move this and then pull it out, those springs are in a lot of tension, and they could go shooting out. And then putting it back in is such a pain in the butt. So there's a lot of work doing that. So what I recommend is sometimes I can use this type of tool. And what I'll do is I will do this and shove this tool into here. And then as I push this, it helps slide that out. And then you have to be really careful, but a lot of times you're going to destroy it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this right here. Again, this is a long video of me explaining it, so I apologize for that. But we're going to get some tools out, and I'm going to try to get this apart without the springs going into outer space. Wish me luck. Get these tools out. Again, long video, skip forward if you don't want to see this. Okay, so let's go through this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this and work my way under here. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the tip in there and kind of rotating it up. And boom, I'm underneath it. So now I'm underneath it, and I can just work this guy up. There he is. So now I can put my finger on there and just work him up. So I don't want to damage anything, so I'm just taking my time. I'm just going to work him up. So now that I got him a little bit up, I don't want to damage kind of anything underneath it either. So this is where it kind of gets, I don't know how I want to do this. I don't know if I want to use a pick and slowly move under here and bring it up, or if I want to continue to use the tool. So let's just kind of hold that there. Just slowly keep my finger over it as I pry up. And again, look how devastating that looks. Oh, it hurts your soul to watch, right? It hurts my soul to do it. So you can see the first spring in there. I'm trying my best to bring this up without this stuff going everywhere. Let's put this down for a second. Tighten this up a little bit. Okay. Got a good hold on it, and let's see what we can do. Okay, it looks like I'm going to have to put my finger on here and just slowly bring this guy out. Alright, so now let's see how much damage I did. Awesome. So, let's just gently, you can see all of them in there. Let's just gently tap this and get some springs out. Clearly, I'm just going to dump it. So as you can see, in my effort to show you how to do this, and that's what I was telling you, remember I said pull it straight up, don't slide it? Because when you slid it, look at all this damage it did. So, garbage, damage to it, sucks. So you can see that spring right there. That spring is now gone. So you might ask yourself, well, what are you going to do? Well, luckily enough, I do buy more springs. I buy them from AliExpress, and it's just a game of trying to get the right one. So let's just drop all these out right now. Okay, so those are all dropped out. There's the mess that I have of pins. So let's first get this guy out. We'll talk about the prep work to get this back in a second. So, and again, now that I've picked it and I'm videoing it, I'm never going to take it apart again. So that's part of it too. So again, it's so much better. And this is why when I have locks, so I'm going to digress on this, but when I have locks that the core can pop out. So like this faceplate, I know that when I take this apart, I could slide it completely out. That's so much better way to not mangle these tiny little springs in here. So what I'm going to do first is that this, I'm going to look at the lock. So what I'm looking for is the, there. So in here, I can actually see the passive pin. So I know that this is the right side. So I put the left side when I talk about these. So what I'll do is I'll bring this over here real quick and I'll stack these out of the way. So I know that these are left side. Now because I'm going to have to literally play with them and figure out which pin goes where. So I'm not going to deal with that right now. So I'm not going to show you me putting it back together, I guess, because that will be a ridiculously long video. So real quick, what I'll do is I'm going to see if these are the holes that line up that allow me to, so let's put this right here for now. Let's see if this one is the one that lines up the holes to let me drop out the passive. So we'll do this. And they're not. So this side, right side, is not the side that drops out the passive. So I don't have to worry about that for now. All right, so what we'll do is we know that these go on the left side. So I'm just going to put these, right side. So I think myself over here, you can't see it because I'm bringing it off screen, but you can see all the things here. You can see all the pins are there. So the proof's there. So you got one here. Zoom out just a little bit. One there. 2, 3, 4, 5 with one spool. So here is the spool. Of course. You can see the spool. So that's what gives you that kind of rotation. So I'm just going to kind of put them in here with them. This is why a lot of people do not fully cut these. So what springs are salvageable? Let's look. Of course, I literally just bumped that spring right there and it went flying God knows where, just from bumping it. So here's a spring here. That's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I have no clue where that other spring went now. And I'm telling you, these things go flying. So terrible lock. Don't ever do your blue belt with these locks. Like just absolutely terrible. Just don't do it. Because taking these apart is just so silly and a nightmare. And I'm doing it just to kind of show you why you shouldn't do it. So let's just take this side out and I'll deal with finding the other sides shortly. So pick this up. Very difficult to get underneath here. Let's try doing it like I said to do it and just straight lift it when I get under here. So maybe I don't manhandle the springs. Okay, so I'm directly underneath there now. So again, so instead of sliding it, like I said not to, I'm just gonna bring this straight up. So basically I'm gonna come under here and hold it and bring this straight up. Now I'm going to look, I can see the spring, straight up. I'll put my tool right on top of the spring. Go straight up. So there's the first spring. Beautiful. Let's leave that spring in peace. See how I was saying? This is a magnetic tool, so for sure that's going to cause those things to get charged, okay? So you have a spool in there. Let's not mess with that spool that's in there. Okay, get a little bit more up, and here's another spring. Right there. Okay, and okay, it's way up there. That's fine. You can see the first spool. Let's put this tool in here. Okay. I'm just flattening this guy if I can. That's So I'll do is I'll just flatten this a little bit just to make it where it's not so crazy high. What a nightmare. I think I'm gonna have to bring it straight up. This is a nightmare. That's why you don't do it, guys. That's why you don't do it. Okay, I'm going to continue so I can see the, you can actually see. I think you can't see it, but I've damaged the spring. There's literally a piece of a spring at the top. So I'm going to push this spring down, rotate it up. Okay. Got this up. There we go. Okay, so these springs, like I said, going straight up didn't nearly get mangled as bad. So before this folds over, let's kind of get you the proof. So there's my remaining ones. So what I'll do is I'll bring this out. And there is one spring that was a casualty of war. Okay, so let's leave that there so you can see that. Put him here. Put him here. Those are good for now. And now there's your springs right here. So what we'll do is we'll drop them off one at a time. That way I can actually keep this in the right order. And of course I dropped 2 out. But you know what? As long as no... Okay, so that was the first pin. Because the rest are the same. So here's the first pin. When I go into a lock, the left side will be at the bottom. Put it there. It looks like number 3 wants to fall out. That's number 3. Come on. Oh, it's because we're rotating. Got it. That makes sense. All right, so now again, I don't know. But everything's in there now. Everything's out, so you can see. Here's another spool. Here's another spool. Here's a pin. Here's a pin. Okay. It looks like there's one standard, so not all of them are spools. So let's put this real quick here. See, that's a spool. All right, so you can see here now 5 and 5. And then what you do is you can actually do the top of it. Now there's nothing in here, and you can rotate it until you see those. Oh, actually, you know what? We don't even have to worry about them falling out because I left this back bracket in. So if you leave the back bracket in and it turns up correctly, you don't have to worry about the other ones falling out. So you can actually see the. Try to make it where you can see it. There. Up here. So that means you'll see them here. I'm looking for them. There. If you look underneath, I don't know if you can see it. Yep, you can see it. See the 2 pins? You can see the 2 pins. Now the third one is in here. So you can't even get the last active if there's a pin in here. So anyway, so that is it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to literally, very difficult, but I'll put the key in here and pretty much drop those pins in one by one, you know, just like you would do with any other lock that you don't know what goes where. So basically what I'll do is I'll put this in here and I will literally drop these in one by one to see if they fit in the correct, you know, sequence, and then drop those pins in there. So what do I do with these guys, right? So one, I'll straighten them back out. So I will take this tool. I like to use vice grips when I'm grabbing things, obviously, but I'll literally put this on here using this flat end. Is there better tools? Yes, there's better tools if you got vices and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I just what I have on hand to show you. So literally I'll just take this and go through all this and flatten it. So right now I have just brought this out. Now it's interesting because I actually tried to 3D print. You know, I was thinking, you know what, why don't I 3D print something? 0.4 millimeters is the exact amount, and it fit in there beautifully. So it actually works. Like the 0.4 millimeter, do I have it on this table somewhere? Yeah, right here. So I printed these, and these slide in nice and easy. What I did was I pushed a pen in there, dimpled it, and it slid in nice and easy, in and out. What doesn't work is that when these are in there, if you press hard on those pins, this will actually pop out. So it was a failure. So really you need to have these guys in here. So what I do here just to give you an idea, is I'll flatten this back out so it's somewhat usable. And then I just take either a round piece, or this one actually has a little bit of an edge. And what I do is I will take this before I'm putting back the, anything together, so I don't have to worry about it. And I'll literally take something that has teeth like this. Again, very handy having here. And I'll literally take this, get this right on this edge, and I will kind of do that. I use these, so I don't have to slam it every single time. So like I'm using this to create that curve. So what I'm doing is I am putting it right on this edge, and I'm trying to give it that curve. So there, I think this is, I'm dropping it. So I'm trying to keep it right on this edge. Very difficult. But you get the idea. I don't want to waste your time. If you're still watching this, you're crazy. So late at night here. I gotta do what my family is sleeping, so I don't have the kids in the background. But if you're still watching this, you're absolutely nuts. So pretty much like I said, what I'll do is I'll put it right on this edge. And what it does is by rounding it, I will take it and I'll keep putting basically a kink into it until I can lay it in here and it doesn't get stuck, it gets flat. And then when I lay it in here like this, pretend that there's a curve in here, I lay it in here. Once I lay it in here and know it works, then I'll put everything back in. And then once I put everything back in, you could use a piece of metal. I'm using this little nickel, and literally because it's round, I put this right on top of the round, and I just take a hammer, or you can even use the side of this, again, not the right thing to do, and pow, you hit it, it'll flatten it back out, and it'll hold. So now, as you can see, I have a spring problem. My springs are jacked up. Here's a real close up of all the pins. As you can see, they're all there. So my springs are all jacked up. So what do? Is I buy stuff from AliExpress, because it's really hard to find springs. It's really hard to find springs in the States, like from stores. So I found it was easier to shop with AliExpress. So what I'll do is I'm going to pull these out real quick so you can see. And like here's an example of some springs. And here's an example of some springs. See? So what I do is I bought springs from AliExpress in different sizes. So I'm just going to try to show you the different ones so you can guesstimate what we think it is. But this one right here is a 0.1 by, so the 0.1 is the thickness of the springs. So it's a 0.1, and I want to say it's by 5. This is a terrible writing on it. I can pull up my calipers, but if you look, that's actually not that bad of a match. Look, see? Really, really close. So this is what I'll use as replacement springs. See how close that is? I don't know if you can see it like that. So what I'll do is I'll try to hold it like this and not have the springs fly into space like they do so often. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just put it on top of this plastic. So if you're ever wondering what to do with springs or what replacements, I just go on AliExpress and you can get ones. These really thin ones, you're going to want it to have a 0.1 in it. That's the size of the. So if you look, oh, you son of a. But if you look at that. See the springs? Very, very similar. So that's what I did. It was really cheap, like insanely cheap. If you bought them here, it'd be a lot of money. It's insanely cheap. I mean, could I use one of these? Maybe. If you look here, those look a little bit too strong. So these ones look a little too strong. So I think those are the better match. So that is what I'm going to use to replace them. I'm going to try to find the one that went to space, but I clearly crushed them. So again, my advice to you is never use this as blue belt. Do not pick it open. And people just have to take your word at it if that you opened it. Obviously, you can't really use it for credit for the blue belt, but this is why people don't use Camlocks for the blue belt system. So like I'm going to sit here and I'm going to flatten this back out and get it all flat as I can again, and I'm going to round them both out and then put this all back together. So it is done. A very long explanation, and I apologize for that, but as you can see, I'm really painting the picture of why you should absolutely never take this apart. Please don't take it apart. If you're lucky, you get an Alpha Z that you can take apart that has a face like this, and then when you unscrew this and take out a little tiny C-clamp, you can pull the core out. So how's that different is I have a video and it uses these tools to safely get the core out, and then you use this inside to one at a time address each side of the pins. So way better to work on the cam locks, anything with this type of capping. So when I eventually take apart this guy, which is my XY, my Opnus XY, I think it is. Oh yeah, I'm going to destroy those pins too. So wish me luck on that one. And maybe because these are a little bit different, maybe I'll have better luck. But let's hope I don't destroy it. Very long video. You guys have a good night.